Hi, I'm Roxy. I'm an illustrator and digital brush creator. A couple of Easters ago, I had this idea to paint this escaping chocolate Easter bunny. And when it came time to paint the foil, I created my own foil brush in PaintStorm Studio. And it worked out really well for me, so I've since recreated the brush in Rebelle, Clip Studio Paint, Corel Painter, Photoshop, Procreate, and Krita. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to get it and how to use it. If you look at the description of the video, you'll find a link to where you can download it from Gumroad or Cubebrush if you prefer. All you need to do is put a 0 in the price field or another number if you're feeling generous and click to get it. There's a separate zip file for each of the programs, so you can download them all or you can just download for the program that you're using. Unzip it and follow the instructions in the TXT file to install it. So I'm in PaintStorm Studio right now, and I will first give you a quick overview of the brush and then I'll do an actual demo. Then lastly, we're going to go to Rebelle for a cool trick. So you'll see that the brush tip chaotically creates these geometric shapes, which is reminiscent of the creases and crinkles that we find in tinfoil or aluminium foil or aluminum foil, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm talking about. And it doesn't do a perfect job, but that's a good thing because that would take the fun out of it and remove your sense of agency. What it does do is it gives you a nice base on which to paint over and be intentional with your brush strokes. As you paint, you might find it starts to look a bit flatter than you'd like as it starts to solidify, but then you just switch to either a lighter or darker tone and you can quickly get that crinkly look back. So now you've seen how the brush works technically. I'm going to paint an actual demo and take you through my thought process from sketch to final. Okay, so I've grabbed a simple round brush and sketching the basic shape of that foil wrapper, the area that it's going to cover. It doesn't have to be beautiful or detailed, but it should show me where the major folds are going to happen. At this point, I also have to start thinking about colors. Foil is metallic, which means it's going to be partially reflecting its environment. So we need to at least have an environment for it to reflect, even if it's just a flat background color, which is what I'll opt for. Because of the Easter theme, I want colors that are a bit more on the pastel-y side, which means fairly light, slightly desaturated. So I think I'm going to go with the top one. So I've popped a layer underneath the sketch now and just slapping down some of that pastel green for the background. And I'll quickly also just paint out the chocolate. Chocolate is also kind of glossy, so adding a touch of green to the highlights so it looks like it's reflecting its environment too. Now I'll grab the foil brush, make it a bit bigger, sample the pink from the swatch, and on another separate layer I'm going to paint the base coat of the pink area. I'll grab a darker version of that pink and loosely swish over where I think the shadows will be, so under the open foil flaps and at the bottom where the egg curves inwards. This brush is wild, so there's no ways I'm staying in between the lines, but that's fine. All I'm going to do is erase the parts that I don't want. I'm using a lasso tool to select the area that I want. Hit Ctrl-Shift-I to select inverse and then hit delete. But I could also just go straight in with an eraser. Then I'll create another layer for the inner silver foil, and I'll use a medium gray to just quickly swish all over the inner foil area. And I'll go for a lighter gray just to bring back those geometric shapes that are getting lost. Once again, selecting the bits that I don't want and deleting them. It would be more efficient to use masks, layer masks, clipping masks, but I don't want to complicate the tutorial. I want to make it nice and simple so that even a complete newbie can follow along. Just realized I actually need more pink for the bottom bits of that foil that's facing down. So going back to the pink layer and adding that in, and I'll delete what I don't want. So there's our base, and this is actually me from the future saying that after my coffee break, I forgot to turn on the damn record button. But fortunately, PaintStorm Studio has its own built-in time lapse. So we're going to continue with that while I narrate. First thing I did when I got back is I started to define some of the edges a bit better. And then I switched back to the foil brush, adding some darker shadows on the pink, swished over some brown on the silver because the foil is also reflecting some of the chocolate itself. Then I grabbed a light color and started better defining the facets of the foil. I started to fill in some of those facets as well. The basic idea is to have the lightest facets facing upwards, the darkest facets facing down, away from the light. And we also need a bit of green creeping in here and there as it catches reflection from the environment. Also adding a ground shadow that the egg doesn't look like it's floating in green space. Darkening the shadows by the contact areas. Adding more definition and a couple of highlights along the creases. That's typically where you'd find the highlights on foil. Okay, so at this point an illustrator can keep polishing for days or until they grow bored, but this is fine. So I will now switch to Rebelle just to show you something cool. Okay, so we have the pencil version, which performs in the same way as what I've shown you in PaintStorm Studio. But I also included an oil version, which works with thick paint. And I dare say it works even better with thick paint because you can go over and over the same area and it doesn't ever flatten out because the impasto pulls on the edges. And what's more is if you have the Pro version, you can head over here and enable metal textures. I mean, look at that. It's almost cheating at this point. So that's it. I hope you find it useful, or if not, at least fun. And if you make anything with it, at me on socials and I'll go out of my way to like it and share it. Thank you to my dear patrons. I appreciate you so much. And thank you for watching. Much obliged if you leave a like and subscribe. Until the next one, God bless.